So we're going to take about 5 or 6 questions. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Bob. I'm a business consultant. I started smoking when I was in high school too, but I was in high school in 1976, so I've been doing it a little bit longer than you. I just wanted to say a couple of things to just kind of fill out what you were saying and temper. I think if people, basically, number one, people should look for a business, not for a job, because it's a huge business opportunity. But in terms of looking at it for a business, there's some things that everybody has to look at. Number one, you have to do your own research, and specifically research on a state-by-state basis, because every state is different, and those differences will shape the opportunity. In New York, as he mentioned, there's only 5 dispensaries now. And so that's going to expand at some point in time, but you have to keep track of where it's going.
Did you have a question?
Yes. I just wanted to say that, like, we got to stay involved politically on this thing. It's not just about starting a business, because you showed a slide where you showed all these business.
All right, this is question time.
Right. Cancer is a $125 billion business, and we have to be concerned that when we disrupt businesses, they're going to come after us. So if we're not involved politically as well as starting businesses, you can bet that the Fortune 500 companies are trying to co-opt. So I just wanted to say that this is a great opportunity we've got to look at, but if you're not looking at the whole spectrum going into it, you know, eyes wide open, you might run into road bumps that you really need to look at.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, frankly guys, it's not just cannabis. Every industry, you're going to have, every time a new industry develops, you're taking dollars away from another industry, period. I mean, that's just the way it is. At this point, our economies are too developed, our countries are too developed, so you're going to always have industry versus industry, and one other thing you're going to have is people playing on both sides of the fence. So, you know, I know that there are people in big pharma that are also in the cannabis industry, and same thing with alcohol, so they want to like hedge their bets. So guys, I really want you guys, I appreciate what your statement, it was a very good one, but let's just keep it to questions. Any other questions, guys?
So given the sort of, I guess, negative picture you're painting for New York's future, what do you think the timeline is for New York, and what's your prediction for when it actually will be legalized?
So,
repeat it.
Yeah, so the question was, I was painting a bleak picture for New York, and when do I think that that's going to open up, essentially? Is that what you asked me? Well, I don't necessarily think it's a bleak, but I do think that the regulations and what we have right now is a disaster piece. I just want to be honest, and I don't think that there's going to be many opportunities in the short term at all. But that doesn't mean, like, I'm making a good living right now, you know? I mean, I'm just thinking outside the box, you know? And, I mean, so it's hard. Like, as far as the store models are concerned, it's tough. But as ancillary, there's a lot of money being made out of New York. I mean, the Marijuana Doctors is a New York-based company. They're doing very well. I'm doing very well. If you want to make money in New York, it's in ancillary businesses right now. So the store models, you know, that's going to take some time. And as to your second part of the question is, when do I think that's going to change? When Governor Cuomo is no longer our governor. So, yeah. In the top row.
I'm over in Connecticut, and we have a dispensary out there, and I was just wondering how do you get involved in something like that?
So your question was, you're from Connecticut and they have dispensaries there, and how do you get involved in the dispensaries?
Well, yeah.
As an employee?
Yes.
Ask them if they have any jobs available. Next question. Yes.
Read on the internet today that President-elect Trump has named Alabama Senator Jeffrey Sessions to be Attorney General.
Yeah.
He is a worse reefer madness fanatic than Adolf Lucifer Giuliani.
What's the question?
Would you like to be aware of that? What can be done to generate as much resistance to this particular choice that the President-elect has made?
Get him out.
Well, you know, just because Sessions is totally against cannabis, he was, I'm sure, appointed for more than just what this industry has to offer. So we've seen Loretta Lynch say that she's totally against cannabis and is gonna, fight against cannabis. We've seen Eric Holder more or less say the same thing. Actually, he was towards the end a little bit more open to it. I mean, this movement's going to grow regardless of who is the U.S. Attorney General, as far as I can see. And I don't think that that's going to change because we're outnumbering them. We're winning this argument, but that doesn't mean we need to take the foot off the gas. We have a ton of work to do. This is just the beginning. But I think that the groundwork has already been laid, and I think that we're going in the right direction. So we got time for about 3 more questions. Yes?
How pervasive do you think the cultivation of hemp and the manufacture of hempcrete will be in creating carbon-negative buildings in urban areas, or just in general at large?
Very difficult because of regulations on building materials and how things are built. And it's going to take a very long time for that to develop, I believe. Because that's a totally separate lobbying effort. And frankly, it's the marijuana side of the business that has the sizzle right now. And the hemp is going to take a little bit more time. I think you're going to see, all right, that's a great question actually. In the hemp space, you're going to see things progress in phases. Initially, you saw the hemp seed and oil phase. Now you go to any supermarket in America, you're going to find hemp seed, hemp oil, hemp protein, hemp flour. Well, maybe not hemp flour, but the other things. And then right now, you're seeing CBD, hemp oil is taken off. That's like the second phase. And then there's going to be more phases to come. But I think that that is a phase that is at least 10 or 15 years down the road. But you're already seeing really cool videos online in other countries where they're showing model homes being built. They're building hemp homes right now in other countries that are a little bit more, developed when it comes to the hemp space. So until we actually have, I think, hemp legalized to where it's not just on a state-by-state level, but the federal government also believes in it, I don't think that you're going to really get the sort of impact that you would like to see. But now's the time to really learn about how all that stuff works, because you're talking about, in my opinion, the highest growth business of all is the textiles and the building materials in hemp, in my opinion, at least.
Hey Scott, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Good seeing you. We just had PTSD added to our state's medical marijuana program.
Jersey's.
In New Jersey, correct. In fact, I was one of the veterans who testified in Senate committee to get it moving forward. This is the pen Governor Christie used to sign our bill.
Nice.
So that actually is the thing is that since this has happened, for me, prior to this going forward, I was told no. I was told it wasn't going to happen. I was told Governor Christie wasn't going to sign it. And I was told no by a number of organizations. And lo and behold, he signed it. So for me, I've been getting hit by Vice News, DPA, ACLU, and all the questions are, what is Leo Bridgewater's next move? And so I'm in the process of trying to figure that out. Because when he actually signed the bill, I was headed to class because I had a test to take, so I didn't even know. But now, I live in Trenton, New Jersey. It's 7.5 square miles. And so now that PTSD is on the state's program, and 60% of our children suffer from PTSD, this is now turned into a rescue operation. And so, being that I'm trying to get this medicine to the people, but also trying to bring an industry, how do I sell that?
Oh, it's a great question. And I'm so happy you asked it, because here's the thing that I really wanted to, I was hoping somebody was going to ask me this question. Thank you. First of all, the whole idea of qualifying conditions, total, complete, utter bullshit. I just want to say that, because number one, the whole purpose of qualifying conditions, that whole idea and concept, nobody even really asked, like, where does this even come from? We don't have qualifying conditions for opioids or any other drugs. This came from the late 1800s and early 1900s when drugs were first made illegal. It was the most radical human rights policy ever adopted in the United States. At that time, heroin and morphine were being sold in magazines, newspapers. You could just order it, they'd send a hypodermic needle and some heroin right to your house legally. And we had a population that was starting to get impacted negatively because of this. So because we had a population that had developed addiction through that, what the federal government decided to do for the first time, which was a very radical policy, was to create qualifying conditions, and in order to get access to morphine and heroin, you had to have a qualifying condition and you have to get a medical card. So why 100 years later we decided to adopt an antiquated drug policy and that we're rolling forward with today? Like right now you have states that are going to adopt medical cannabis programs and they haven't even written the regulations yet, they're going to have qualifying conditions in. People need to be educated. That is a 100-year-old drug policy that has to go. And if you think that I'm being radical when I say this, you should all know that Washington, D.C. already ripped up their qualifying conditions list. So it's not like this isn't something that we can move beyond. We need to fight for that. That's something we need to fight for. And also, just by the very nature of the fact that you have an endocannabinoid system, you deserve to have access to cannabinoids because the first level of healthcare is preventative medicine, not treatment.
By the time they're 50 or 60 years old or 40, because liver damage, having these special needs, you just had to have a philosophy bag from all the pharmaceuticals. And I really believe that hemp. Could you speak to that? And as hemp?
Well, yeah, I mean, first and foremost, like last year I lost a good friend of mine. We were friends since first grade. They put him on Ritalin before he had the chance to make his own decision for his own health care. His parents said, you know, this is what you need to be on. And then that Ritalin progressed into, you know, other drug pharmaceutical dependence as he got older. And then ultimately he couldn't afford those drugs when they took him off of them and he went to heroin. And then he died, and he was my best friend. And I watched that whole process over the course of 20 some odd years develop, and it really hurt me. And you know, you're creating drug addicts before these kids are, you know, sometimes even have a chance to determine their own future. You know, and a lot of doctors are very drug happy. They get reimbursements from the pharmaceutical industry, and they have every incentive in the world to create a drug addict. So this is something that we need to rail against in the most fervent way. To legalize cannabis, make sure that doctors are on board with the non-toxicity and the very low physical dependence of cannabis, and I think that most people in this room would agree that I'm just preaching to the choir right now, right? So, all right, so...
my point was that you could use cannabis as a replacement for antidepressants
Yes.
and a lot of the psychotropics, because this population has no choice. Most of them are like, you know, there's...
Well, first and foremost, you can use cannabinoids to get them off, help them to wean off the withdrawal symptoms that they're dealing with, and then you can move into a treatment process, or you can do such simultaneously in many cases. However, I also want to point out, thank you, I also want to point out that I don't necessarily think that cannabinoids are the end-all, be-all to medicine. I mean, I believe that, you know, we need to have doctors understand, you know, both sides of the pharmaceutical medicines as well as the cannabis medicines, and not just cannabis, but there are many other plant alkaloids which can be vitally helpful to people, and our doctors need to be educated about this, and it'll just create just a better healthcare system overall for everybody involved. So that is going to be the end of my presentation, but it's not the end of the night. We have just gotten started.